15. He is in. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Thank you and welcome to a special edition of the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. Obviously no head football coach sitting next to me as Scott Frost was relieved of his duties earlier today. We will talk with Vice Chancellor, Director of Athletics Trev Alberts about the future, the direction of Husker football after a disappointing Saturday game against Georgia Southern, which saw the Eagles beat the Huskers 45-42. We will also hear from Husker quarterback Casey Thompson, who did address the media following last night's heartbreaking loss to Georgia Southern. We'll have our Hy-Vee sounds of the game as well and some final thoughts. Husker Football Show, our Bank of the West Husker Football Show will continue with Trev Alberts coming up next. Welcome back to the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. An interesting last 24 hours. I'm delighted to be joined now by the Director of Athletics for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Trev Alberts. I know this has not been the weekend you hoped or anticipated for. What's the last day been like?
You know, Greg, it's been tough. You know, I mean, these are never fun days, and they're hard for everybody. You know, they're hard for the coaches, they're hard for all of the support staff, their families. It's hard for our football team, and you know, it's one of those days that you hope never comes because it was never the hope all along. You know, we worked as hard as we possibly could. I know Scott worked as hard as he possibly could, and unfortunately, we are where we are. We're 16-31, and really felt like, you know, 9 games left in the season. If we had a new voice, some new energy, maybe a different focus and slight tweaks, can we find a way to win some games for these seniors and for our upperclassmen? And so, not a great 24 hours, but you know, we'll get through it.
The result of the game was disappointing, I know, to the team. You did allow Scott Frost a chance to talk to the team today.
Well, first of all, I have a lot of respect for Scott and the way that he handled the situation. You know, he and I talked about 11 o'clock Sunday morning, and he assured me that he cared deeply about the University of Nebraska and would not do anything to try to disrupt or harm. And so both of us went in front of the team, and I thanked Scott in front of the team for all of his hard work and told the team what was going to happen next, and then allowed them an opportunity. There weren't any questions. I then left to allow Scott have time alone with the team, and he had that time with them, and it wasn't too long. And then ultimately I brought Coach Joseph in, and he addressed the team as well and reminded them that we have 9 games left and we have a tremendous opportunity this weekend in a huge stage playing against Oklahoma. So that's sort of how it went down.
You mentioned Coach Joseph. You did the second part of this as you've named him the interim head coach. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about elevating another former Husker to that spot?
Yeah, you know, Mickey's he's a former teammate obviously as well, and infectious personality, worked hard. I think he's had a lot of different perspectives. He's been different places, and I think he has some thoughts about some slight structural things that could help us. You know, I looked at multiple people on the staff. The reality is, when you think about it, you know, Coach Whipple's busy building a game plan, and there are head coaching responsibilities that frankly right now we need Coach Whipple really focused on the game plan and calling the plays. And same thing with Chinander. We've obviously got some significant holes and weaknesses on our defense, and so I just really thought right now for where our team's needs are and going forward that you know, Coach Joseph made the most sense to help us finish out this 22 season.
This has been a rough stretch of Husker football. We all know that. Mm-hmm. And yet you look out there last night, packed house, fans supporting this program. That has to warm your heart and also fill you with hope of where you can go.
Well, it does, and I can't thank our fans enough. You know, we've talked about this a lot, but the differentiator for Nebraska is our fan base. At the same time, you know, we can't take our fans for granted. And more importantly, and you know, for me, accountability has to be part of a great culture. And 16-31 leads to a change, and so accountability matters to me. But I can't thank our fans enough. I thought it was a special environment, and quite frankly, if you didn't have a rooting interest in just watching the game, it was a fun game to watch. There was a lot of offense, a lot of big plays. It wasn't fun for me, but you know, so we would just ask our fans to stay with us, hang with us, Greg, and we're going to keep working, and we're going to put a product out on the field that the state of Nebraska and our fans are going to be really proud of.
I have more questions. You're willing to stick around?
Sure.
All right. We're back with more with Trev Alberts coming up next here on the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. Welcome back to the Bank of the West Husker Football Show, joined by the Vice Chancellor, Athletic Director for the University of Nebraska, Trev Alberts. The decision to make a change at the top of the football program. Now, where do you go from here? What are the next steps for you?
Well, first and foremost, what we're going to do is we're going to support our existing team and our coaches. And I'll be working with Coach Joseph and doing the same thing I did with Scott, is what can I do to be helpful? I don't want to get in the way, don't want to meddle, but I've told Mickey he's the head coach, and I want him to have the authority to make the decisions that he thinks are necessary to get us through the season. And then the next thing that you're going to do is, we are going to engage third-party help, and most of that's logistics to help us as we navigate through this. But ultimately, Greg, we've got a runway now and a window that allows us an opportunity to talk to a lot of people. And, there's a lot of great football minds out there, and one of them resides in Lincoln, Nebraska, and so I'll talk to him as well. But, in my previous experience, I had a chance to interact with a lot of coaches, and I intend to reach out to a lot of coaches. And that's why I said at the press conference, there are going to be a lot of rumors, there are a lot of innuendo. Trev reached out to XYZ coach. It may very well be that I did reach out to that coach. It didn't mean that I was hiring that coach or attempting to hire. But I think you can learn about your own organization by getting others' perspectives from afar about you and what would help Nebraska be great. So I intend to reach out to a lot of people. Obviously, we've got a small group of trusted advisors that I work with here, and of course our leadership and Chancellor Green and President Carter will do this together. It won't be in a silo or in a vacuum, and ultimately we'll make a recommendation on the next leader of Husker football.
Is someone with previous head coaching experience a must for you or not?
Well, I never like to use words like must because, these are very definitive words that sometimes it really limits you. But obviously at a place like Nebraska, Greg, I think that I think this is a place that has enough demands that experience matters. I think track record matters. And as we continue navigating these changes in college athletics, there are going to be fewer and fewer programs that have higher and higher expectations. And so what is required at a place like Nebraska going forward will even be different than what was required at a place like Nebraska in 2013, if that makes sense. So we really need to define that, and we need to define what is the culture here that our fans and our alumni can identify with. Clearly define it, and then we'll go out and find somebody who fits that culture and that role. So I think head coaching experience would certainly be wonderful, but I don't like to use very definitive words in case something happens that leads us down a path that somebody doesn't have head coaching experience.
You mentioned earlier 9 games left. There's a lot of this season left, a lot of home games left,
That's
including a big one Saturday with Oklahoma. There's going to be a lot of fanfare around that game, big national exposure as well. A lot of things to still get excited about.
A lot of things to get excited about. We're going to be honoring the 70-71 team. Johnny Rodgers, it's the 50th year of him winning the Heisman Trophy. There's going to be a lot of people coming to town. It's a great opportunity. Fox, noon kickoff show, and it'll be a great national audience. And so really like our fan base to showcase our program as best we possibly can. I know that they will, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see our football team play very, very well. This is a team that has talent, as you know, Greg. And I think if we have slightly different focus and motivation, and I'm going to give Mickey Joseph that credit when he gets it done because he's going to work hard at it. I'm looking forward to seeing the team play well on Saturday.
Appreciate you sitting down with us, and best of luck here in the coming weeks.
Thank you so much.
Trev Alberts with us here on the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. We have more coming up next. We are back on the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. Yesterday was a disappointing day for the Big Red as they drop a 45-42 decision to Georgia Southern in quite a shootout at Memorial Stadium. Afterwards, quarterback Casey Thompson addressed the media. Let's listen in.
Our job is to move the football and to take care of the ball. We had no turnovers, which is a positive. Scored the most points we have all season. It's a positive. We stayed together. We ran the ball well. It was a positive. We spread the ball around receiver. I think we were in good shape for 4 quarters. The line, we weren't tired. So, there's a lot positive, like you said. At the end of the day, the team that wins scores the most points. So, got to score more points. There's a couple of things that we could have cleaned up, of course. But we took the lead in the 4th quarter, and then we had a chance to tie it up as well when we were down. So just trying to focus on doing my job and leading the offense. That's all I can control. But yeah, I mean, a loss is a loss. It's a team loss, and it's always tough. When they call the punt team out, I just go off the field and I immediately go talk to the offense. So I don't question any of the play calling, and the coaches just get paid to coach. And I mean, we're here to play ball, so I never question any of the calls. At the end of the day, I mean, the coaches are on the sideline and the players are on the field, so it's on the players to make plays. I mean, whatever they call, we have to make it right. I mean, if they call inside zone or if they call a drop back pass, you know, it's on us as an offense to do the right thing. On defense, it doesn't matter if they run cover 1, cover 3, cover 4. Every play is designed to execute, so including special teams, so we should be able to execute anything that's called. And then in the Big 12 last year, I was in a lot of shootouts, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Baylor. I mean, there's a lot of shootouts that I've played in, so if anything, it gave me a little bit of comfort and peace knowing that I've been in situations before, and having the experience helps a lot. And just like I said, just focusing more on my throws and on my reads and taking care of the football. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely being in tight matchups and high-scoring games has helped a lot. I think they were like 4 out of 5. They scored like 4 out of 5 of their possessions, and we scored like 4 out of 6, something like that. So the score was 28-28 at halftime. That's 4 touchdowns. So I knew at halftime it was going to be. I just knew as long as we can continue to get the ball back and go score or get a field goal, then we would be okay. But I mean, we were 4 for 6 on touchdowns in the first half, and I don't know what we were in the second half, but we scored whenever it mattered. But yeah, I kind of knew early on in the game, like first or second quarter, not to be negative, but I always try to be positive. But I mean, anytime you see over 21, 28 points in the first half, you kind of know it's going to be a high-scoring game. We're just hoping we can get some stops, and that way I knew we were going to keep on scoring points. So like I said, I thought we could outscore them, but we just ran out of time and then missed a field goal. But like I said, I can't worry about any of that. I mean, at practice, you don't really go 98 yards for the game. It's not a situation that you practice a lot. We actually had it, what was that, week 0 against Northwestern in Dublin. I think we would have went down and scored as well, but like I said, we just have to keep improving and get better. But honestly, you know, if anything, it's all mental. Like when you're on the sideline and you look at the clock and you're like, it's 4 quarter, right? You're down. You got to go 98 yards to win the game. If you overthink it and you stress about it, then chances are you're going to be unsuccessful. So I always try to have a positive mindset. I tell the guys on the sideline, we're going to go score. Tell the coaches we're going to go score. And honestly, once I got out in that field, during the 98-yard drive, I forgot that we had started at the minus 2 yard line. It's just something that you have to kind of ignore the mental block of like, this is a huge task and a huge barrier to climb, and just go out and play ball one play at a time and execute. So I think we did that.
Welcome back to the Husker Football Show. As we mentioned earlier in the program with Trev Alberts, another sellout crowd watched the Huskers compete on Saturday night against Georgia Southern. That leads us into this week's Hy-Vee Sounds of the Game. Huskers and the Eagles of Georgia Southern here, a night game at Memorial Stadium. Those are always really special.
Snap back, play action. Stepping up as Casey's going to scramble to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone, touchdown! What a nifty run by Casey Thompson. Casey looking, stepping, joins with the end zone man out there. Brody back, touchdown, Nebraska. Brody Bell's first career touchdown. Pocket right, being hit as he throws down the field. The pass is up for the in the air. Marquise Buford hits the pin. There's the first INT of the year for the Husker. Marquise Buford pulls it out of the air. Gets the snap, puts it in the belly of Anthony Grant. Oh, keeps it himself, scoots to the left. Touchdown, Nebraska. Casey Thompson's second rushing touchdown of the night. Step back. Van Treese gives the handoff to White. He's hit, and he's stopped at the 2 yard line. Husker stopped the play. He'll lose a yard. It's 4th and goal at the 2. Great stop by the defense. Great penetration up the middle. Chancellor Brewington in motion. Snap back. Casey keeps it himself, dives over the top. Touchdown, Nebraska, and the Huskers have the lead.
We are back on the Bank of the West Husker Football Show. Well, what an emotional weekend it has been for the Big Red. A disappointing loss on Saturday night, the dismissal of a head coach, but now on to the next. 9 games left in the season, including Oklahoma coming up next Saturday. Next week on the program, Interim head coach Mickey Joseph will join me. We'll break down that game and get you updated on what's going on with Husker football. My thanks to the entire Husker Vision crew and to you for watching. We invite you to join us again here next week for an inside look at Husker football.